it started. Yeah. So basically, I think that it will be more like a training than a public webinar. So I will definitely speak also about some technical details, how to configure the build processes. It is not an easy configuration, so I will not speak about every single option, but I'm sure that after this session you can try and use Polarion by yourself. And then if you would have some further questions, we can prepare another session, or we can communicate over email and ask detailed questions. Andy, I would like to ask you, because you don't have a headphone, but you have a speakers, if you can mute your microphone, because I hear myself and it's a bit disturbing. So let's start. So the topic is build automation and continuous integration. I want to speak about the goals of the build management and continuous integration, introduce you the Maven 2 and build automation tools, how Polarion can orchestrate these tools, so how you can manage automated build process with Polarion Pro, and also speak about other aspects like source code reports and quality assurance, automated test management a bit. But let's start with the basics. So first, Polarion is a big player in the area of the continuous integration, because definitely the part of the continuous integration is also version control management, because you really need to frequently integrate your changes. And as you know, we have built famous subversion tools and solutions, like a Subversive, official subversion team provider for Eclipse IDE. And we also have, the ALM solution, Polarion ALM, is built on top of Subversion repository. The build management. The build management is heavily focused on build routine. What is a build routine? It's a set of tasks that a developer department needs to perform to actually create an application, or to make a real product, a real application from a source code. So it consists of compiling computer source code into binary code, packaging the binary code, running tests, deployment to production systems, creating documentation and release notes. So the build routine really contains pretty many tasks. And the typical pains are that because there are so many tasks, it takes a lot of time to perform a full build routine. Typically, these are not an easy task, or they are simple, but not everybody in the organization understands how to actually perform them. So the big pain is that it typically depends, to create an application, it depends on a key personnel. Also, if you don't have the process around builds managed, you have no clear history and build versioning. So you have many of applications, and you don't know what is part of what version. Because of that, also, the time to fix an issue is a problem, because you don't know, where to find an issue. And if you have the process a bit managed, but you use a lot of components, you also face the problems that you need to integrate many components together, and without the proper build management, you quickly, end with something like integration hell. What is the solution? The solution is to set up a build automation and continuous integration process. The build automation, this refers to a strategy to automate the build routine. By automation, I mean that it should be easily repeatable, so you do not need to start a lot of different tasks manually, but typically you have just one task to execute, and everything is somehow automatically built. Ideally, it's on the server side, so I don't need to create a build on the client, and it relies on the version control and source control management. So you have your source code managed. With build automation, you definitely save a lot of time and money because you really need to because you don't need to perform all these tasks separately. Continuous integration, it's similar, even though it's more advanced build management process. It's focused mostly on a frequent integration. So when I change something, I should, as fast as possibly, commit my changes to the shared repository, integrate my changes, so I can get the needed feedback if something is broken or not. And it definitely helps with the issues that might be found later when you postpone the integration. Definitely, I mean, the primary subject when you speak about the continuous integration is the quality and also time, because the sooner you fix the integration issue, the less you pay for it. For build automation and continuous integration, there are pretty many tools. Not all of them are server-based. Pretty many of them are just a client-side build automation tools, and pretty famous are Apache Ant and Apache Maven. Let me just, very quickly show you, the principal details. So the Apache Ant, it's a pretty old Apache project. I think it's around 10 years old. It's Java-based, so it's very portable. It's a build automation tool, so you can automate the build procedure with Apache Ant. It's a client-side, so it runs typically on the client. Of course, it can run also on the server if you have some additional server-side component, but Apache Ant is just a very small client-side tool. It has a very simple XML configuration, and the limitations are it's very low level. There is no server, nothing like a shared repository where you can really manage your build versions. The build versioning is not there at all. I'll start my Eclipse IDE in the meantime. Let's go back to my slides. Comparing to Apache Maven, Apache Maven is more like a next generation of build tool from the Apache organization. It's also the build automation tool. It's a client side, but it also contains some sort of server side solution. It's mostly for Java, but definitely there are many extensions to other programming languages. It has a very nice plugin architecture, and this is important, and we will see why. And the limitations are that it's a very strict when you need to define your project. So you need to follow a guidance, how to structure your source code into different folders, and you have an XML file that defines the actual Maven project. And this is, a very complex, process to configure the build process with all the possible reporting plugins that are available for Apache Maven. And there is also in Apache Maven, it's not a solution for a continuous integration. So the server side consists just from a repository of your build results, so you can easily refer to the build results. Let me just go to my Eclipse IDE, and let me tell you that I will share with you also the examples that I have in my Eclipse IDE. So you can try by yourself, you can understand the details, and I will provide you all the details. So I have a project called Example 1. It's a very simple project with just one Java class. And this project is configured for Apache Ant build process. So I was speaking before that it's XML driven. So you see that for every Apache Ant project, you have a file called build.xml, and it contains all the different tasks that you can perform to build an application. So if I go here, I can right-click on the build.xml, and I can run as and build. Let me click on it. And wait a second, because the Eclipse has been started just a minute ago, so it's still updating indexes. In the meantime, you see that for Ant file, it's just a source folder. You have your files. That's all you have. Example 2 is a Maven project. You see that there is much more folders with different artifacts. Like you have a folder with Java sources, with other resources, with tests. You have also the POM XML file. This is important to understand that for Ant, typically there is this build.xml file. For Maven, the file is called POM XML, and it defines the project structure, the dependencies. So I can say that my example 2 depends on my eLibrary project. I can define, a Java version, compatibility version I'm using. And I can also define many different reporting plugins. I'll speak about these plugins a bit later. So let's go back to our plugin and try to run it again. Oh, now it goes. So when you start an Ant, you see that it runs several tasks. This is a typical Ant result. So the build is successful, and in my folder, I have the jar file that is a result of the build configuration. So this, just by one click, it can produce a file that is a result of my developer activities. So this is the build automation. For POM XML, it's very similar. I can go and I can run it as a Maven build. It will ask me what goals I want to run, so I go install, and I will execute a Maven build automation tool. It's more advanced because I will also generate some reports, and it starts the generation process, and in a couple of seconds I will have the results available. That's successful. So these are the client-side tools that are used for the build automation. And in the next phase of this training, I'll speak how to integrate the Ant and Maven with Polarion, so how to manage the Maven and Ant processes, build processes with Polarion Pro. Let me now ask if there are any questions about Maven and Ant in principle, what is a build automation. If you don't want to speak, there is also an option that you can use a chat window, and anytime you can just type your question. So if something will not be clear, just type the questions and I will answer them later. So a Polarion build management. So the primary goal of a Polarion build management is to provide a server side to Ant, Maven, and any command line build tools. So we want to build a solution a server-side solution from which you can start and control build client-side build automation tools. It's very important that a Polarion contains the built-in version control management. So ideally, the customer is using Polarion to manage requirements, manage tasks, and all the source code is also stored in Polarion in embedded subversion repository and linked to work items, to tasks, to requirements. And because we have the source code, we can really just start or Maven to produce a build. The benefits are definitely a single reporting platform. So the ALM concept is heavily based around reporting. So because you can have configured a lot of different reports in Polarion, like open issues, ratio of implemented requirements, you would also like to have a nice report around the source code quality or build quality. So you don't want to use many different point solutions. So the Polarion ALM is the world of no integration.